إذا كنت معنا هذا الصباح عبر الهاتف أشكرك شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا جزيلا.
ألف شكر مستمعنا الفاضل في كل مكان، تقبلوا تحياتي أنا بالقسم جير، نلتقي غدا في أمان الله.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
On National Martyrs' Day, the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, said that loyalty to the martyrs was the foundation of the achievements of the new Algeria, whose sincere nationalism is the driving force of whose legal or goal is the greatness of Algeria. The French Interior Minister Laurent Nunez has expressed his satisfaction with his visit to Algeria, and his will to see cooperation between the two countries continue. 80 countries and international organizations have condemned the Israeli occupation's unilateral decisions and measures aimed at expanding the entity's illegal presence in the West Bank. Hello and welcome to Radio Algeria International. I'm your host, Masoud Sharfi. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has delivered a message on the occasion of National Martyrs' Day, saying that loyalty to the martyrs was the foundation of the achievements of the new Algeria, whose sincere nationalism is the driving force and whose goal is the greatness of Algeria. More details with Jamal Salmani.
In a message delivered on the occasion of National Martyrs' Day, celebrated each year on the 18th of February, the President stated that this anniversary is an opportunity to perpetuate with gratitude and pride the duty of loyalty and consistency on the chosen path as the challenges of the current stage are met in order to complete the journey started together at the beginning of the decade. He stressed that loyalty to the martyrs has been the foundation of this stage, sincere nationalism, its driving force, and the greatness of Algeria, its horizon, emphasizing that this journey has brought the country out of perilous situation and led it towards a climate of confidence and hope in a new Algeria, embraced by the people who are fully committed to a dynamic of sustainable development deployed across the vastness of the national territory. Mr. Tebboune added that what has been accomplished is only a pledge of loyalty to the martyrs, to whose memory we bow with deference on this occasion, and a testimony to the permanent awareness of the confidence of the people whose hopes and aspirations remain focused on the march towards the promise of an emerging country.
Meanwhile, the Interior Minister Said Sayoud today presided in the province of Ouargla over the provincial celebrations commemorating National Martyrs' Day. The ceremony took place in an atmosphere of reverence and pride, expressing gratitude for the sacrifices of the noble martyrs who wrote glorious pages in the history of Algeria with their precious blood and established the values of freedom and national sovereignty. For his part, the President of the National People's Assembly, Brahim Boughali, stated that Martyrs' Day is an opportunity to commemorate those who gave their lives for their country and taught the people patience and faith in a bright future. On the occasion, Mr. Boughali wrote on his social media account that President Tebboune continued his commitment to protecting the national memory and preserving the legacy of the martyrs so that their sacrifices remain a beacon for future generations. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, made a phone call to his Tunisian counterpart, Mr. Qais Said, congratulating him on the arrival of the holy month of Ramadan and wishing him and the brotherly Tunisian people progress and prosperity. For his part, the Tunisian President reciprocated his brother's congratulations on the occasion, wishing him and Algerian people all the best and peace of mind. The two leaders discussed the strong bilateral relations between the two countries. Here in Algiers, the French Interior Minister Laurent Nunez has expressed his satisfaction with his visit to Algeria and his will to see cooperation between the two countries continue. After a meeting granted to him by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, the French official said the aim was to relaunch a high-level security cooperation mechanism.
Je viens de rencontrer le président Tebboune, donc il m'a fait l'honneur de me recevoir.
I have just met President Tebboune. I was honored to be received by him. After working all day yesterday with my counterpart, the Minister of the Interior of Transport and Local Communities, and all the managers of the Algerian and French security services, we have worked to put in place to restart a high-level security cooperation device, which has focused on legal cooperation, police cooperation, information cooperation, to intensify these relations, to resume normal security relations. Obviously, as Minister of the Interior, I congratulate myself. I would like to thank the Minister of the Interior of Algeria, who brought us together, who made sure that we could work in this direction. And of course, I would like to thank President Tebboune, who received me, and of course confirmed and asked his departments to work with the French ones to significantly improve our cooperation once again in terms of legal cooperation and also in terms of readmission. And all this will now be put in place in the shortest possible time.
Et tout ceci donc, va maintenant se mettre en place dans les plus brefs délais.
The French Interior Minister expressed his will to see this cooperation continue at the highest level. The Minister of the Interior, Local Authorities and Transport, Said Sayoud, has received in Algiers the Secretary General of the Council of Arab Interior Ministers, CMIA, Mohammed bin Ali Kouman. During the meeting, the two sides discussed issues of common interest. The meeting took place in the presence of the Director General of National Security. The Mauritanian Minister of Energy and Petroleum, Mohammed Ould Khaled, has visited the headquarters of the National Electricity System Control Center, CNC, in order to learn about Algerian expertise in this field. The Mauritanian minister, accompanied by senior officials including the Director General of Sumelec, SMH, and Sumir, was received by the acting CEO of Sunalgaz, Rashid Abdessamad. Talks focused on supporting Sumelec through Algerian expertise in electricity transmission, engineering, equipment supply and training, with Sunalgaz reaffirming its readiness to assist and open its energy and renewable energy schools to Mauritanian executives and students. At the end of the visit, the Mauritanian minister reaffirmed his commitment to bilateral cooperation in energy, equipment supply, training and expertise exchange to support African energy security and address regional and international changes. The National Commission for the Observation of the Lunar Crescent, operating under the Ministry of Religious Affairs, meeting at Dar al-Imam here in Algiers, has announced that the holy month of Ramadan for the year 1447 of the Hijri calendar will begin tomorrow in Algeria following the non-observation of the lunar crescent. The commission, which includes sub-commissions across the various provinces of the country, is composed of ulama and experts for the Research Center in Astronomy, Astrophysics, and Geophysics. 80 countries and international organizations have condemned the Israeli occupiers' unilateral decisions and measures aimed at expanding the entity's illegal presence in the West Bank. In a statement delivered by the permanent observer for the State of Palestine to the United Nations, Riyad Mansour, during a press conference at UN headquarters in New York City, the group said the decisions contradicts Israel's obligations under international law and must be reversed immediately.
We reiterate our rejection of all measures aimed at altering the demographic composition, character, and status of the Palestinian territory occupied since 1967, including East Jerusalem. Such measures violate international law, undermine the ongoing efforts for peace and stability in the region, run counter to the comprehensive plan, and jeopardize the prospects of reaching a peace agreement ending the conflict. We reaffirm our commitment reflected in the New York Declaration to take concrete measures in accordance with international law and in line with the relevant UN resolutions and the 19 July 2024 advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice to help realize the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination and to counter the illegal settlement policy in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem.
They stressed that achieving a just and lasting peace based on relevant UN resolutions, the Madrid Framework, the Land for Peace Principle, and the Arab Peace Initiative, and ending the Israeli occupation that began in 1967 through a two-state solution, remains the only path to ensuring regional security and stability. The head of UN Development Program said that living conditions in Gaza are the worst he has witnessed in his career, as he urged Israeli occupying authorities to grant more access for the removal of debris, the provision of temporary housing, and private sector recovery efforts. Speaking in East Jerusalem after a 3-day visit to Gaza, Alexander De Croo said 90% of the territory's population was living amid rubble in extremely painful and dangerous circumstances.
Very, very difficult circumstances of living for the people of Gaza. I have been Minister of Development for 6 years in the past. This is the worst living conditions that I have ever seen. Extremely painful conditions to live in. We are, as UNDP, working in a recovery effort. Recovery effort on 3 dimensions. First of all, rubble removal and solid waste removal. Rubble removal, we have done approximately 0.5% of the total. At the current pace, it will take us 7 years to remove all the rubble. So we need to find a way to get the authority to have more capacity to do rubble removal and rubble recycling. 90% of the people of Gaza today live in the middle of that rubble, which is extremely dangerous also from a health point of view, and unexploded weapons which are there.
That was the head of the UN Development Program, Alexander De Croo. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, and its 123 partner organizations have launched an urgent appeal to mobilize $1.6 billion to provide life-saving assistance and more dignified support to nearly 5.9 million Sudanese refugees in 7 neighboring countries by the end of the year. More details with Jamal Silmani.
In a statement, UNHCR indicated that the 2026 Regional Refugee Response Plan for Sudan will continue to prioritize support for around 470,000 new refugees expected in neighboring countries this year, in addition to thousands of others still present in border areas who have received only minimal assistance since their arrival. The UN agency stressed that the large-scale appeal reflects the persistent impact of the conflict in Sudan and renewed its call to strengthen international support and bridge the chronic funding gap for humanitarian operations in countries hosting displaced Sudanese. In this connection, the regional coordinator of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in Sudan, Mamadou Blade, reported that around 3.5 million people, including 721,000 refugees, have returned to the country.
Close to 3.5 million people have returned, including 721,000 refugees. We hope that these returns will also create possibilities for more and more possibilities for people to return voluntarily in safety and dignity. As we speak, 4.3 million Sudanese refugees are in neighboring countries, in 7 countries in particular: Central African Republic, Chad, Egypt, Ethiopia, Libya, South Sudan, and Uganda.
Since April 2023, Sudan has been the scene of an armed conflict between the Sudanese army and the Rapid Support paramilitary forces, which has caused the death of thousands of people and the displacement of millions of others.
Still in Sudan, where more than 50 people were killed and dozens more injured in drone attacks carried out in the Sudanese state of Kordofan and Sennar. Drone attacks in Sudan have killed dozens, including civilians in El Sunut, Sudari, El Mazmoum Hospital. Amid the ongoing conflict between Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and Rapid Paramilitary Support Forces head Mohammed Hamdan Daglo that began in April 2023 and spread beyond Khartoum, the conflict has caused at least 40,000 deaths, while around 14 million Sudanese have been forced to leave their homes, many facing the brink of famine. The Iranian foreign minister has stated that Iran and the United States had agreed during their discussions in Switzerland on a set of guiding principles which could pave the way for a possible agreement. Mr. Araghchi said that Iran and Washington reached broad agreement on guiding principles in talks more constructive than the February 6th session in Oman, noting a quick agreement is unlikely, with both sides continuing work on draft texts and planning a third session. And he welcomed in Geneva at the United Nations Conference on Disarmament the new window of opportunity for a diplomatic resolution, hoping for a lasting solution serving the parties and the region. On the occasion of the National Martyrs' Day, Radio Algeria International has a special program about two iconic martyrs, Mr. Al-Arabi bin Mahidi and Didush Murad. Stay tuned. Thank you.